How's that?
Let me take a peek. Yeah, it looks good.
Hey.
Oh,
how's that?
That's the perfect intro to the red carpet show. Let me take a peek. Yeah, it looks good. Hey, we sound good too. Okay. All right, I'm going to tweet this at you while you address your.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the red carpet show. Happy Friday. I'm sick today. I'm sick because of what happened to the Raptors. It was the build-up to the greatest. It was going to be the greatest, not the greatest day in Toronto sports history, but you know what I mean. It's going to be one of those, Jays win in the afternoon. They beat Boston. We're looking good, looking World Series this year. Leafs are going to go to the playoffs. We know we got a home date in the playoffs for the first. I don't know when the last time we hosted the first round of the playoffs, and we got the Raptors. Man, they've come back from 1 foot in the grave, and Philadelphia's playing like crap, and I'm like so excited. And I know there's going to be drama. I know there's going to be edge of the seat drama the entire day, all day, and I can handle that. I'm good with that. It's like watching a Hitchcock thriller. It's like watching 10 of them in a row. Right? It's edge of your seat stuff. It's great. It's fabulous. The first half of the Raptor game, back and forth, fantastic. And then, so I'm sick. I'm legitimately sick that way. And I'm also physically ill, just like feeling really awful. But looking forward to today's show. Our guest, Karen Sebesta. So I know Karen like 40 years ago. I don't know. When we both started in television, she was a production assistant, a script assistant, starting in the broadcasting business. And she did other things besides sports. She did TSN for a while and ended up at CBC. She's been there over 30 years. The first ever female executive producer at CBC Sports. So imagine CBC Sports TV started in 1952, I guess, with Hockey Night in Canada, right? Think of all the people that ever worked for CBC Sports that you know of. These are on-air people.
Right.
You probably didn't know too many of the directors, producers, camera people, audio operators, the behind-the-scenes people, or any of the production people either. And remember, we're talking about in the control room, you're looking at a director. You're looking at the producer. In the back row is the producer, right? Front row, you got director, right? You got PA, production assistant, timing the show, making sure this item's coming in 5 seconds. It's pre-recorded. Okay, standby camera 2. You're going to have a close-up right there on Andy Petrillo. All right, and I want you, and as soon as we go, I want you to truck to your right. She's going to look this way, and then we're going to dissolve to that video that's coming off of chain number 4. Okay, standing by for, like all that stuff, man. We had no idea. Well, this lady is like the top. She's very influential. So an interesting perspective. Cool. We're trying to give you different types of guests.
Retweet the tweet I sent you. My buddy Andrew Stokely said she's
Andrew,
good people.
audio Andrew?
Audio Guru, that's his official name. Audio Guru Andrew Stokely tweeted at me this morning that she's good people.
Yeah, Karen's good.
Although people's plural, and she's a singular person, so I'm not sure. But yeah, she's good. She's a good person. So looking forward to it.
And she's a golfer, so right there.
Oh wow, that seals the deal. That seals the deal.
See, if you love golf, if you love golf, we have a connection. That's why Humble Howard and I get along well, right? It's the golf thing right there, right?
The
there.
language of golf.
Get it?
Oh, that explains why I don't.
Well, he's a golf snob. He's a golf snob.
Well, he's very good.
He's very, very good. He would be like, if we were both actors, let's say, he would be the guy who had won the Academy Award.
Oh, he's Laurence Olivier.
Yeah, he would be the Academy Award guy. He won an Academy Award, or he was nominated, and I would like not even close.
And you're like
I have to add a comment here. We have to do a podcast here.
Okay. Well, I'm ready when you are, buddy.
Christ. Please join us. Yeah, that's a good thing to say. For a good time.
a good time guaranteed, or your money back.
I'm just lubed today.
Well, this will be good to see Hebsy all looped up.
Whacked today. Let's start this thing, man. I'm just, holy jeez. I apologize to those of you on the red carpet, or no, I don't. Fuck it.
Well, what did they pay to watch? I want to know. Like, did you sell tickets? You owe no one an apology. You're providing a free service here.
It's been a tough week. Yesterday really took its toll on me, man. Oh,
Well, here, let's get into it, and then we can
All right.
hear all about it. Okay. So, I start the show. That's right. Here we go.
All right, go. Bring that down. It's loud. Bring it down. Bring it down. Man, I got a headache.
You're
already.
hearing it. You're hearing it.
And I hate to say that because that's David Hidalgo of Los Lobos. Hi, everybody, sports fans of the world. I'm your host, Mark Hebsy. Welcome to my podcast. It's Hebsy on Sports, alongside Toronto Mike. Feeling a little. I'm good. No, I don't want to burden you with that. I'm feeling fantastic today.
Well, don't lie to the people.
All right, I'm not feeling so good. Today on the show, we come to praise the Toronto Raptors, not to bury them, the way Philadelphia did last night. Oh, talk about a lack of drama. We'll get into some of the specifics, like how does a team give up a 17-0 run in an elimination game at home? How does that happen? We have several sports psychologists standing by to discuss that. Oh, well, at least we have the 2022 World Series champion Toronto BlueJays playing well, thanks to future Cy Young Award winner Alek Manoah. Anybody got that parlay happening on Bodog like me? Anybody? Mike, you got the Jays to win the 2022 World Series, don't you?
Yeah, that's how confident I am on this.
Yeah, baby. We'll also see which NHL fan base drinks more alcohol than any other, and how the Toronto Maple Leafs are preparing for their first round of the playoffs. No, they're not drinking alcohol. No, don't link those two together. They don't know who they're going to be playing. Is it Boston? Is it Tampa? It doesn't matter. Game one's at home in Toronto, but would you rather play Boston or would you rather play Tampa? Because tonight they're playing Boston in a regular season game, their final regular season game. If they lose that game, I don't want to say. We'll talk about it later. Our guest today is Karen Sebesta. You know the name? No, probably not. Maybe you do. I don't know. She's the first female executive producer at CBC Sports and the senior producer. It doesn't mean she's old. It means she's experienced, all right? The senior producer of their Olympic coverage that you see on CBC, which, like, we didn't see any of it for a while, and then we saw, like, 2 Olympics in 6 months. How the hell do you do that and stay sane? We'll ask Karen Sebesta. Oh, I have to take a break here, Mike.
Hey, I'll fill in. I'm dying to know, because when we get to the Raptor talk, did you ever flip away from the Raptor game to check in on Jeopardy?
What?
Yeah, because I was toggling for a period of time between the first half of the Raptor game, right, which we played well, and Jeopardy.
Right. My answer is, what the hell are you talking about, man?
Yeah, true story. And
you also know that the Jeopardy result, I mean, I knew what happened. Like, I knew at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, but I choose not to.
No, but I'm saying, if you really wanted to know, I knew at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So why would I know? Live, look, anything that's going on live, a sporting event, oh, God, I'm getting it. My head's like throbbing. Folks, I apologize. I really do. But I'm on some drugs here. I've been running a high fever this week. I'm on heavy antibiotics for an infection. I thought it was COVID. I'm like, oh God, I got COVID. Shit. And ran out for the rapid test, and it's negative. And why am I feeling this way? And anyway, I got this infection, and so I'm taking these antibiotics, heavy antibiotics, and I'm also taking these other pills. What are these things called?
What are these called?
I don't know, man. They're making me feel really loopy. I'm loopy. And I'm hurt. I'm not Fred VanVleet hurt, right? Like, I was doubtful last night. About midnight, I was doubtful for today's show. And this morning, I upgraded myself to probable. And then just before we started the show, I'm in the starting lineup. So there you go. Well,
firstly, we're excited that you're trying to do this for us. Like, you could have called in sick.
No way.
Here you are. So that's awesome.
No way.
I would have called your replacement, Jim Taddy, in. Jim, it's Mike. Need you. Yes, he's like, you know what he would say? No guy. That's what he would say. No guy. But
all right,
pulling through for us.
All right. So why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? Well, part of it is physical. Part of it is metaphysical. Part of it is psychological. Part of it is emotional. Part of it is biological. It's all encompassing. You know, the Philadelphia 76ers, I got to tip my cap. They're a pretty good basketball team. All right. Say what you will about Joel Embiid and James Harden, fear the beard, and Doc Rivers' inability to hang on to a series lead, even though he just seems to be the nicest guy, Doc Rivers. Yeah, he really does. Let's face it, you know, those 2 Raptor wins after the Sixers had taken a 3-0 chokehold. It was a stranglehold. It was a chokehold. It was like you're about to pass out. It was like, end it. You know, I would have been fine if they would have ended it in the 4th game. Like, really, I would have been, okay, you know, it was a good season. But no. They teased us and they came back and we went, oh, God, look at Pascal. He's going to win the series for us. We're going to be the first team in 138 years to come back from a love. No, we didn't. And then we took this mindset like, oh, no, we're only down 1-3. How many teams have come back from a 1-3 deficit? Hey, oh, no, we're only down 2-3. How many teams have come back from a 2-3 deficit? I would have been fine if they would. What was that?
I accidentally pressed.
Did I just burp? Did I just burp there?
No.
My burp came out as.
On Twitter, I was loading a tweet from you, and it's a link to the live stream, which means I accidentally played the live stream for a second. So that was like you 10 seconds ago.
Oh man,
it's like the
show is off to.
It's like the
show is off to the goofiest start. Loopy. I used the word loopy earlier. That's what it's like. What's going on here?
All right.
I blame Embiid for all of this. All this. This son of a bitch he got into our heads. We thought we were getting it to hit his head. He got into our heads. He did. It was all about, you know, like this whole thing with fuck Embiid and all that kind of thing. And you know, I think of it was like, was he that bad of a guy? And now after last night, I'm like, you know, he really is. He's a prick. He really is like a prick. He can be the nice, because he's got that very easy languid way of speaking, you know, that lulls you into this. He seems like such a nice fellow. You know, he doesn't have that hard edge to him like, you know, like American players might have, let's say, North American players. And he lulls you into that. But really, he's like an immature prick. He just is. And he must have felt personally responsible after that horrible Game 5 in which, you know, all Toronto fans were going, and he came back, man. You know, the thumb didn't seem to be an issue. The guy was a force. Fucking guy shoots 12 of 18 from the field. That mid-range jumper of his, you can't block that shot. He just goes up and over the guy and hits that little line drive, you know, 12, 15 footer. You can't let that guy get in deep. I'm sorry. 12 of 18, 9 of 10 from the line. You keep fouling the guy. You don't want to foul the guy. You want the action to keep going. You want him to run his ass up and down the court, tired the guy out. Every time there's a foul, he gets a chance to get a breather. He goes to the line, takes a couple of dribbles, collects himself. You don't want that. You don't want it. Sorry. Raptors, too many fouls. Raptors took too many ticky-tack fouls. Can't even blame the refs for that. They can't stop the guy. And then Harden. And Harden, you know, we knew early on he doesn't want to shoot that 3. He's not comfortable shooting that 3. He hasn't been comfortable with the step back. So what does he do? He blows by Scotty Barnes a few times. I'm like, what's going on here? Dunking. He blows through the lane and dunks. Harden. So we hung in there for a while. Anyway, he was great too, Harden. You know, finished 22 points, 15 assists. Mike, their 2 best players were their 2 best players, won them the game. And when your best players are your best, they're a better team, you know, unless we got mammoth performances out of, oh, that's right, Fred VanVleet didn't play. We didn't have him. So good for Philly. They scored 99 points before the end of the 3rd quarter. Mike, 99. I'm looking at the scoreboard. Holy cow. Where's our defense? What happened to that great defense the Raptors had? For gosh sakes, we held them to 88 points in the entire game in Game 5.
Right.
So I think after that, I think they were embarrassed. I think they were looking for revenge. I think all the critics were all over them, and the noose was tightening. And are you guys going to choke? Are you going to choke again? Is Doc Rivers going to choke again? And then, you know, did Nick Nurse get out coached? I don't know. But every time the Raptors came out of a timeout, they got their asses kicked. You can't give up a 17-0 run in an elimination game at home. You just can't. A 7-0 run, yeah. 10-0, a couple of threes, you're right back in it. But 17-0.
The entirety of that 17-0 run, I was putting the kids to bed. Like, I went up and then put the kids to bed, came down, and we were getting skunked. It was the... Yeah.
Credit to Philadelphia, really. I tell you what, and they didn't have Thibault, who's a pretty good player too. He wasn't available because he was unvaccinated. And let's face it, the NBA, huge sigh of relief. Phew, we don't have to go back to fucking Canada. I guarantee it. We don't have to go. We don't have to deal with that issue anymore. Because if you're unvaccinated, you can't go to Canada. That's right. So you know what? Maybe it was a blessing in disguise for the country of Canada. I know that sounds stupid, but anyway, I won't be rooting for Philadelphia when they play Miami. I hope they get their asses kicked by Miami. I really do.
For sure.
Okay.
Can I ask you about a phenomenon? I've had it my whole life, and I have it now, I realize. When my team gets, beat badly in an elimination game, I for the next, I don't know, 24 hours at least, but maybe to 48 hours, I ignore all like sports commentary and like shows like this. I would ignore like the plague because I don't want to hear the recap of the shit game that eliminated my team. Like I would just tell you, if I were not a part of this show, today's the day I skip Hebsy on sports, just so I don't have to hear about that loss last night.
This endorsement by Toronto Mike Boone.
No, but you don't have any.
Let me give Mike's address to everybody. Do you mind if I give out your home address so that the fans of the show can throw rocks at your window?
They're probably like
Stop
me.
Don't be such a sore loser. Just don't. Okay, get on with the rest of your life. Get on with the rest of your life. And listen,
wade in it.
Commiserate. We're not wading in it. It's a bog. Okay, it's a healing process. And if you choose to go through it by yourself, well, screw it then. Then don't listen. All right. Then don't contribute to this nonsense. This is the way it is. Okay. Get used to it. Okay. Just because the Leafs every year, you can't have that attitude, man. You got to look at it. If I asked you at the beginning of the season, and I did, you said, "Are you kidding me? Yeah, no chance here."
Let's get that lottery pick.
But did they not exceed expectations?
Yeah. And you know what?
Okay.
In hindsight.
Mike.
Yeah.
The fact that they lost the elimination game by 30, forget that. Just forget that for now. They won 48 games, fifth in the conference. Mm-hmm. Who knows if Fred VanVleet had played? Who knows if Scotty Barnes doesn't get injured and misses a couple of games? Who knows if OG Anunoby
ifs and buts
was found? That's right. So, but the thing is that you can look seriously at next season and go, wow, this team can go places. Can you not? Rookie of the Year, Scotty Barnes, can you not say with certainty that next year, this team looks like they're going to be a force? Yes or no?
We should be better next year.
Thank you. And that's really all you really want. You want to prove. So.
Always the optimist, Hebsy, man.
Not always. I do want to know what happened to OG Anunoby. What happened to this guy? I'm looking at this guy. This guy a couple years ago was like a forward. What's wrong with this guy? Injuries? What is it? Because he disappeared yesterday. Really needed him. I'm, defensively and everything else. I'm not going to just hang it on him. It's really not fair. Just last night, in that 30-point loss, I kind of looked and whatever happened to Anunoby? Because we had Boucher was awesome, 25 points off the bench, and Siakam had 24, and Trent Jr. had 19. Scotty had 18. When I think of Scotty and getting hurt in game 2 and that walking boot and going, oh, we're not going to see this guy again, and certainly not at any effectiveness, it really impressed me. By the way, Mike, would you like to see NHL players embrace and chat the way NBA players do when a team is eliminated? Do you like that?
After the team's eliminated, they do the handshakes in the NHL. Like we see the handshake line.
Right. Let me rephrase the question because obviously you didn't understand. Would you like to see NHL players embrace and chat the way NBA players do when a team is eliminated?
Oh, I guess I see what you're saying now. Are you just so I understand what you're saying? The Raptors seemed kind of chummy after that.
Mike,
I don't care.
Would you like to see at the end of a series when a team is eliminated?
Yeah.
Would you like to see NHL players, rather than the handshake line and a pat on the chest, actually stop and embrace and have a little chat the way NBA players.
Fine. Beautiful.
Thank you. You do like that. I kind of like it. I like it. It shows respect for the opponent. It's different from the days of, fuck you. I got to shake your hand. I don't mind that. Although basketball is a physical sport. It's not a collision sport like hockey. So I don't know. But anyway, I would like to see it. I would like to see at the end of a series, the two goalies, for example, instead of, 15 seconds and a pat on the chest and see you later, them actually stop and let's go over to the boards and have a little chat. Man, that was some series, wasn't it? And maybe you could eavesdrop on that with a live mic. Anyway, that's
okay.
Boy, you're in a worse mood than me today.
No, I'm actually fine.
No, you really are. Are you sick? Have you tested?
I've never, honestly, I almost feel bad. Today. I don't want to say this because you're under the weather, but I've never felt better. I feel like that's rude to say to somebody who's not feeling well.
That is a really mean thing to do. It's mean.
I know. That's why you pried it out of me.
I'm telling you, I'm just, I don't know what it is. Is it the combination of the antibiotics? Like these antibiotics.
Well, you're sick. Wicked. You're sick, man.
And I'm sick. So I don't even know what I just said.
When you play this back, it'll be
okay. So the NBA playoffs. Let's see. We got the Sixers playing Miami, Boston hosting Milwaukee. Those are going to be two good series. Now, are you a basketball fan to the point that even though the Raptors have been eliminated, will you watch playoff basketball from here on in?
I need a story. Something's got to draw me in. Some kind of. I won't just watch it because it's playoff basketball until the finals. It has something. Somebody I want to watch will kind of draw me in.
Okay. In the West, we got Phoenix, who eliminated New Orleans in 6 games last night, and the Mavericks, who eliminated Utah. So Phoenix against the Mavericks. That's one series, and the other series out West, Golden State awaits the winner of the Memphis mini series. You see what I did there?
Yes.
What did I do?
You I don't know. What did
I do there? What did I do? Memphis mini.
Okay, well, Memphis is up 3-2.
Memphis Mini. Who was Memphis Mini? When the levee breaks. When the levee breaks by Led Zeppelin. So Memphis Mini, a famous blues singer. Damn it, I thought I had you with that one. In the Memphis Mini series, not Memphis, Minnesota. Forget it.
I know it's a Led Zeppelin reference, and I dropped Memphis that ball, Hebsy. I feel great, but I missed that one completely.
I know you know your music, but you don't know your 20s music, right? You don't know your 1920s Mississippi blues Delta music, do you?
I know the Zeppelin cover.
Memphis Mini and Kansas Joe. Okay, I thought I would slip that one by you, but I'm telling you, I'm loopy.
Shit.
It's the antibiotics.
I feel bad now.
It's and it's this cold syrup too, man.
You got any Pearl Jam references for me? I'm good at those. How about some Beastie Boys reference?
Oh, Jeremy spoke in class today. Now to baseball, we all know how important it is to have depth in case of injuries, right? We all know that. I don't even have to say that. If the Blue Jays expect to win, they need to keep their best players healthy. Okay, thanks for telling us. Duh. What are you, an analyst on one of the? Geez, now I'm going to get myself in trouble. Who do you think you are? The Master of the Obvious, Captain Obvious? Pat Tadler said that last night during a broadcast, the Jays broadcast. He says, "What do they call that? Captain Obvious."
I saw him the other day. Somebody was talking about Star Wars. They have some Star Wars promotion, and there was Darth Vader. Yeah, he's like, "Who's that?" or something like the Darth Vader breathing.
I like Pat. I like him. He's a nice guy. I really like him. Sometimes he'll say something, and I'll go, like, "What did he just say?" Oh, I know. He said something the other day. He just sort of, and I forget who it was. Doesn't matter who the player was, but Pat goes like this. You know what he is? He's a baseball player.
Yeah,
he plays baseball.
He's a baseball player.
And I went, wait a minute. That's so dumb. And then I went, wait a minute. That's kind of profound if you look at it that way. Like he's nothing else. You couldn't describe him as anything. You couldn't say that guy there is a great father. Right. He's a good son. He's a religious person. He's a pious person. He's an honest person. No, you can only say one thing about that guy. That guy, he's a baseball player.
I love it when we had Tabby on the Jays. Like everything was about bases loaded with this guy. Like that's all we ever talked about. Like get him up there if the bases loaded. He's batting 500 or some shit like that.
This media talk brought to you by. I think you should get Tabby on the show, on your show. Okay, I think he'd be great.
I'll see if Stokely will hook me up.
Yeah. Okay, so last year injuries to George Springer limited him to 78 games. Had he been able to play 90 games, 100 games, the Jays would have won more than 91 games. Would have made the playoffs. That's a fact. He was hurt. Okay, you got to keep him healthy. This year, the health of Vladdy Guerrero Jr. is of utmost importance. Please. Vladdy missed one game last year. One. The year before, how many did he miss? None. This guy is a stud. Switches from third to first base. Barely misses a beat. Hits the shit out of the ball. Takes walks. Pitchers don't want to pitch to this guy ever. Not now, not ever. For the next 10 years, this guy is going to terrorize pitchers, maybe 15 years. So when he was scratched from yesterday's lineup and didn't even appear as a pinch hitter, you could excuse Blue Jay fans like me for being more than a little concerned. I'm worried. This guy would go in the lineup no matter what. You're saying to him, take it, they don't do a thing, okay? What if he had a consecutive game streak going? And here's the difference. If he was Cal Ripken, and this happened, and he was in the midst of a streak, he would play. He would say to the manager, I'm playing. And the manager said, all right. But in this case here, in today's baseball, it's different. Vladdy, you got to think of the team. Dude, we need you in August and September and October. Don't worry about it, man. Take a break. My question is, how many days does it need? Right? And will the Jays fans freak out if Vladdy misses a week, 2 weeks, for example? If it was that bad, bone bruise, whatever the case, and you didn't want to aggravate it daily, every single day. Could we get away with that if the Yankees pulled away by 3-4 games? I don't know. We got the Yankees coming. We got the Yankees coming next week. We just took 3 or 4 from Boston. This team's good. And it's good. It's even good winning 1-0 with Bradley Zimmer and Kasuke Kato and Raimel Tapia batting cleanup for the first time in his career. I'm sure when Charlie tapped him on the shoulder and says, you're batting cleanup, he looked, he said, like, oh, you got the wrong guy. Charlie, no, it's me. Tapia, with the hair. No, you're batting cleanup. And he's looking behind him like it's a joke, right? Like someone's going to pop out of a cake or a clown's going to come out of my locker. I'm batting cleanup. Not Lourdes, not Bo, not Matt Chapman, or me. I'm batting cleanup. And they still won 1-0. They still won. That's how good this team is. Alek Manoah, this dude is 13-2 lifetime. This guy is a beast. He's a beast.
Wow.
Right? Already there's comparisons. What pitchers had to start? Who, like Juan Guzman, when he started with the Jays, was like, holy geez, he was unhittable for 2 years.
Yeah.
But this guy here is a beast. I mean, he's like, he wants the ball and he throws a lot of pitches, but that's okay. Because I can see this dude and give me, this guy could throw 120 pitches. Look at the arm on that guy. You kidding me? Stretch him out. It's April. The guy what did he throw yesterday? 90-some pitches? Close to 100 pitches? This guy's got an arm on him. Are you kidding me? This guy, the way he fought, the way he battled with men in scoring position, holding a 1-0 lead. Beautiful. Love it.
Would you say his slider is Steve-esque?
Steve-esque, Steve-like, Stebian. It's a Stebian. Was it Steve? I don't know. However,
and kudos again.
By the way, how many suffixes? How many suffixes can you add to, and how? You know what I mean?
Well, if there's a controversy, to be Steve Gate. We have to add gate to it. But listen, kudos to you. I got to pump your tires for a moment. That story about Dave Steve touching his cup from last week goes on the Mount Rushmore of on sports episodes. Honestly, I've been telling everyone in my family, everybody I meet on the street, I stop them and I say, "Can I tell you a story?" And I share that. Good. And then I say, I have to cite my source. It is Hebsy on Sports.
Yeah, I'm trying to get John Gibbons on the show. I just got in touch with Stu Stone, your buddy.
They're buddies. They're buddies.
Yeah, and they're pals. So we're gonna get, because Gibby would be great. I mean, he's great.
Okay, you want a winning episode? Get Stu and Gibby on together. That's your Hebsy on Sports exclusive. That would be fire.
Oh, that would be good for you, though, wouldn't it?
Well, I don't know. I think Stu pulls out the best of Gibby.
But you know how much more difficult it is to interview two people or a tandem.
Okay, yeah, but it gives you a better chance of getting Gibby. I'm just saying. Anyway, fine. You don't do that. I'll take it then. That's my idea. I'm taking it for Toronto Mike. I'm getting Stu and Gibby on Toronto Mike together.
Am I loopy here? Is it the drugs that are taking over here? Are we discussing future guests on each other's podcast? Like this is
bring the audience into the family.
No, but wait a second. So is it possible for us to do a simulcast of two separate podcasts on the same podcast, like two different? Okay, we should do that.
What theme do we use?
Anyway, where were we? This is very exciting. Let's all go to a Jays game. There was a bunch of private boxes that are available, It's a couple of grand for a private box. Let's get we got to get together.
A Hebsy on sports box?
That would be good, right? Let's figure that one out. We'll talk to Scott Allen about that. The Jays host the Houston Astros beginning tonight at the Dome. Jays second in the East, 13-7. Half game back of the Yankees. Guess who comes to town Monday?
Yankees.
Yeah, them too, but either the Boston Bruins or the Tampa Bay Lightning, because the Leafs. Because playoffs, it's playoffs. Don't forget, Mike, playoffs. So
I'm wearing my Leaf jersey right now, Hebsy man.
So hang on a second. So next week we got to go Yankees and Yankees Jays, and then run across the street between innings, catch Leafs Bruins or Leafs Tampa. Here's the deal with the Leafs. This is the way I understand the Leafs. They're going to host the Boston Bruins or the Tampa Bay Lightning on Monday. But for sure, they're hosting the Bruins tonight, and they're not going to play Matthews and Marner. Marner was courtside at the Raptors game last night. So, right. You can't do that. You can't go out the night before a game, can you? I guess you can. Anyway, they're not playing. And if they feel that Boston will be an easier opponent than Tampa in the first round, well, they should just tank tonight. Let the Bruins win. Hope the Bolts lose to the Islanders tonight. And guess what? You get the Bruins. Is that okay with you, Mike?
100%. Yes. Whatever it takes.
Really? Even with our history 100%. With the Bruins, you're okay. You want to play the Bruins.
I personally, having watched quite a bit of hockey this year.
I love this.
I want the Bruins over the Bolts. I think we get spanked by the Bolts. I think we lose in 5 games to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Yeah. What do you think? Who would you rather face?
Tampa's been playing like shit. Tampa looks like very beatable.
I think this team is built
beatable. No, I think you got to go for Tampa. You got to play Tampa. It wouldn't be fair. If you got Boston, it would be like, it's easy. Boston's a sweep. Boston is an absolute sweep. And I know that would be embarrassing Boston fans, and it wouldn't be right to say that. But the Leafs are way better than Boston. With a healthy Matthews in the lineup, are you kidding me?
Do you remember last season when I said the Leafs would sweep the Habs in 4?
Are you kidding? That was you.
That was me, yes. But I'm not touching sweep anymore when it comes to our
Listen, here's what I'm going to do. I want to see when the odds come out, because we don't know. But when the Bodog odds come out, I want to see what the odds are. The Leafs could be the underdog if they play Tampa, even though they have home ice. Anyway, listen, I've made some fun bets lately on Bodog. Last week I hit the parlay Leafs Washington. I picked the Leafs at even money. I bet that the team that scored first would not win the game. So I won that whole thing. I had Leafs and Washington scored first. The Leafs ended up winning the game. All right. So I had that. And I parlayed that onto the Raptors plus 7.5 in Philly, and they won the game outright. So I won $145. Right. So I'll pay for
you bet against the Raptors last night.
I'll pay for the cappuccinos next week. I'll look after that. That's the least I can do. So we'll find out what the odds are. Leafs Tampa or Leafs Boston. I think it's going to be...
Before we go too far, if you had to choose and you could have either Tampa or you could have Boston, who do you want for your Leafs to face? Forget odds. Who do you want to face?
I want Tampa. I don't want to say, oh,
Karen's
you guys
agreeing
got lucky with Boston. You guys got lucky with Boston.
All right.
Okay. So
I'll take
that's
Boston.
My thing. Listen, do me a favor, folks. Help me out. You didn't have to pay for this fantastic content. Not only is this content fantastic, wait till you see what's coming up like right after this spiel by me. Do me a favor, okay? Go to hebsy.online/Bodog, okay? Go there, put in $20, $25, $100, $200. Bodog will match up to $200. Free money into your account, make a play, bet the Leafs to win the series, bet Matthews is going to score, whatever, prop bets all over. There's a million things you can bet while the game is going on, like I did, and you could win $145 and then, treat your friends to cappuccinos. And I'll also throw in a free limited edition Hebsy on Sports t-shirt. Mike, I have yours here.
I'll bike over and pick it up anytime, buddy.
I got yours here. Okay. There you go. Top shelf where they keep the peanut butter.
I'll wear it proudly.
I haven't copyrighted that expression. Do you think I should? If you have a pet expression, do you copyright that? I know people that have done that before.
Well, yeah, the famous example is let's get ready to rumble. Now we owe somebody money, and I owe somebody for saying yes, guy, earlier in the program. Let me open my wallet. This is an expensive episode.
When he finds out, he's going to get pissed. He's going to really get pissed at you. Okay, he for sure won't come on your show. Now for sure he won't come on your show.
That ship sailed years ago. Don't worry.
All right, go to Hebsy.online/Bodog. Please help me out. Okay, let me wet my whistle, please. Today's guest, who's like, here she is. She's on deck. She's ready to go. I'm fouling off pitch after pitch after pitch. She's waiting to come up to the plate. She's going to receive a fantastic gift pack from NateMakesSoap.com. A week from this Sunday is Mother's Day. Now, do you think her kids have thought about, seriously, her sons have thought about, what are we going to get Mom? No way. Moms can be a tough buy. Trust me. Okay. My mother, last year I just said, Mom, here's some soap, beautiful soap from NateMakesSoap.com. My mom loves me even more. She's almost 90. She doesn't look a day over 77 because of NateMakesSoap.com. Beautiful stuff. Okay. So do me a favor, do yourself a favor. And more importantly, do your mom a favor. Nate's Mother's Day gift package includes 3 bars of hand and body soap and 3 bath bombs. That's right, bath bombs. I love them too. I want to soak in a tub right now. Mike, I'm feeling so loopy. I'm telling you, these drugs, holy cow.
That's a spin-off podcast where Hebsy's in the bathtub.
Do me a favor, go now. Don't forget to use the code Hebsy20 for 20% off this great Mother's Day deal, NateMakesSoap.com. Make your mom happy. Okay? Today's guest was the first ever female executive producer at CBC Sports, where she has worked for over 30 years, spent over a decade at Hockey Night in Canada as an AD and an AP. If you're in the television business, you know what those things are. If not, we'll explain them to you. It's not tough. She recently wrapped up 2 Olympics in 6 months, which is a record, which will never be broken again. She was the senior producer of the Tokyo Morning Show and the Beijing Primetime Show. And as if that wasn't enough, exec producer on both the Tokyo and Beijing Paralympic Games. We're glad she found the time to join us today. Please welcome Karen Sebesta.
Thank you. Happy to be here. And Toronto Mike, nice to meet you. I have listened to your podcasts in the past, and thanks for championing this great city. I've lived here all my life. I'm a Toronto girl. And Mark, I have to start by saying this. When I started, I went to Ryerson, RTA. I started at TSN in 1985 as a student when this little cable company started on Leslie Street, and every day at lunch we would cross the train tracks and go back into the Global, into the basement to the cafeteria. And I loved that I got to go into Global television where Taddy and Hebsy did Sportsline, because as a girl growing up in Toronto, that's what Dad watched. So it is an honor to be on this podcast today with you guys.
Oh, I just got a rush of blood to my ego. Oh my God. Whew, must be the tetracycline. Thank you, Karen. Really nice of you. Yeah, that's a long time ago, but that's when I think sports television people really paid attention to, because it wasn't just the live event and a couple of between periods interviews and a guy reading 5 minutes of sports, because it was always a guy. It was a different time. So from TSN, at what point did you say, I think I could go places in this business? And what did you want to achieve?
It's really interesting, people listening, and how your careers go. I wanted entertainment television. I'm a musical gal, music and singing and performing, and I wanted to be an actress. And so I wanted entertainment television. So TSN, when it was the cable station and working there, was just a job. And at the time I worked with, it was all young people. There were some incredible people that had left CBC to create TSN. And, it was a really good environment. But by 1990,
give us some names. Give us some names.
Jim Thompson and Gordon Craig. Gordon Craig started TSN, and these were people that came from CBC as producers and execs and moved over there and created this cable network that they obviously wanted to grow and make it more important, as we now know it is. But at the time, anyway, I was there till 1990. So probably 5 years, a couple while I was in school. And I had an opportunity to be an associate director, which is someone who does live television and works with timing.
AD.
AD keeps things on time. And CBC started News World, their 24-hour news channel. And I had the opportunity to go there, basically get hired on the spot. And I went to CBC because I wanted to work in variety and entertainment television. So I did. I worked in news. I worked on all sorts of really cool award shows, and remember shows like Rita McNeil and Friday Night with Ralph Benmergui and Air Farce. And I really had a really great 5 years, but entertainment industry started to go freelance and outside, right? You didn't internal entertainment went it was too expensive. And so somebody came to me and said, hey, Karen, you know sports. You worked and did hockey. We had some early hockey games at TSN, and I worked on all sorts of sports there. And there was an opening at Hockey Night in Canada. And the producer at the time was Mark Askin. The director was Jim Marshall. They both knew me. I had worked with them before. They said, you should come and do hockey. So I said, okay, hockey. I know where I'll be every Saturday night. I'll be in Maple Leaf Gardens, or I'll be on the road. The schedule comes out in July. You can plan your life
right
in a way. And I said, you know what? Why not? And there I ended up. And then I ended up on Hockey Night in Canada in the cult that it is. And off I went.
How many other women were doing what you were doing?
Well, Hockey Night in Canada had always had a woman associate director. Like if you go back in the days, 1952, when it started, and there had always been sort of a woman in this timing role, help keep the boys in line. Bit of
really?
Yeah.
So that was a traditional female spot in live television. The female did the timing, let the director and the producer know how much time was left till commercial, how much,
Yep.
but nothing beyond that. Like no
editorial input. Certainly
none whatsoever. Strictly
no.
shouting out the time and letting you know that, okay.
Now, historically in television, and not to bore you, but men obviously really started the business in the 50s. It was a guy's world, not only in sports, everywhere. But as time went on, that's sort of where women landed in this script assistant was the original title. Script assistant. So whether it was, entertainment or news, or it was managing the script. So it very much was a housekeeper position and managing. Administrative. Now, so at the end of the day, by the time you get to my generation, and I started in 96, just after that lockout, 94 lockout, so 96, 95, 96 season. By that point, the rules were a little bit changing. And depending on who you are, I was a journalist, I liked storytelling, and I really pushed to be an associate director as associate producer as well. So let me go to the morning skate and get the clips. I'll put together that profile. I'll fly to Ottawa and interview Jason Spezza, as a future prospect, so I pushed to be the storyteller. And yeah, still every Saturday night, Coach's Corner. Okay, Grapes, you've got one more minute and I got a story I got to tell, I want more time, so that was the stress point, is making sure Ron and Don took their 6.5 minutes. Otherwise, you screwed the whole second period puck drop.
So wait a sec. So when Cherry was going, like when Ron was saying something, well, we don't have time or whatever, or Ron would say out loud, like, do we have time for this? Something like the pressure was on you, right? Like everyone was like, we didn't know at home, but everyone was going, what the fuck, Karen? What's going on here? How much more time? Great, 17 seconds. Like, was it chaotic?
I think the thing is that obviously, like now as a producer, it is the producer's job to say yes or no, but you're listening to this person. So as an associate director, you're going, you count to time, you got 6.5 minutes. You keep, the trick is you keep 30 seconds in your back pocket, but you don't tell the producer, so that when they don't listen to you, and that's the thing about being a producer, a good producer will listen to the AD. You keep going, now you're in the danger zone. And then that's when it's trouble. Because at the end of the day, in the olden days, it was chaotic. We would go, and then at the end of the day, we ran out of time and you're going to miss puck drop. So then you have to bargain with the referees and the guys that put the lights on and just sort of say, can we steal 30 seconds? That's a trick in the business. As producers, we all do that. You got to know who's controlling the timing in the venue. You got to be nice to that person, because you probably got to steal a little time every now and then.
So as a producer, and okay, this is before Mike gets to ask a question. As a producer, if you know that the AD has 30 seconds in her back pocket, I love that expression, okay?
Yeah.
you trust that person, right? You know, you have the feel, and you know that your teammate right there has your back, that they've got that 30 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Can you explain that to Mike? Because he's so concerned about time. He'll let it slip during a podcast that he's running out of time. And it gets me I feel tremendous anxiety whenever Mike says to me, we don't have time, or he's got time in his head.
Here's the thing about time, and I can say this, is that there are people that innately have a sense of time, and there are other people that have no sense of time. So think about the people that you're like, oh, I'll be there in a minute. And then 20 minutes later, they're showing up, I'll call you in a minute, or you start talking with someone and then it's an hour. How did that happen? So to be good in television, you really do need a sense of time. You got to kind of know how long a minute is, how long 30 seconds is. Think about interviewing people. You guys have both interviewed people. Those people that go on and on and on, they don't know how to give good clip. So I think the thing about time is you either know or you don't. So if you're a producer, or like me, who is born and raised on time management, it's just in my bones. I know when it's long enough or we got to go. But if I worked with somebody that didn't have a sense of time, you really have to be like, listen to me. You have to go. So I don't know, Mike, that's the question. Like, do you think you have a good sense of time?
I have a good sense of where the mute button is. Okay. I will say time is a social construct, okay? Your world, Karen, time is of the utmost importance. You've got a puck to drop. You've got commercial breaks. Our world is very different, Hebsy. We have a lot more give, but at the same time, my dear friend Hebsy, sometimes we have other things we have to do at 10:30, so we can't do a 2-hour episode.
Yeah. See, I'm sorry. I don't look at it that way, Mike. I don't have 4 kids to worry about. My kids are grown and gone. Karen, your kids are older. They're adult males, right?
I got 2 of them. One lives in Berlin, and the other one just got his first apartment. He leaves May 15th. So
there you go, Mike. So when your kids are old enough, send them to Berlin. Karen's son has a place there.
I love Berlin. I was in Berlin for a week once about 10 years ago. What a great year that was. Like, honestly, Berlin's amazing.
It's a great city.
God.
Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Real quick here, just want to say 2 highs real quick. So Andrew Stokely says hello and says you're good people.
Isn't that nice?
No,
that's
I heard
very nice. Yeah.
He's an FOTM. Another FOTM who's been over. I'm wondering how you work with him. Shirali Najak.
Oh, well, of course, Shirali and I go back to a long way. I was around in Newsworld. Remember I told you guys I went to CBC to work in Newsworld, which is now Newsnet. Shirelli was a young graduate of Mohawk College, and he came in to do some directing. We worked overnights together, 7 days in a row, overnight shift, midnight till 6 a.m. So these are the things about television, is that, people want to always ask me, so I'll just jump and tell you that, how does a woman survive this? Or listen, how does anybody survive the business of sports, television particularly? It's long hours, it's nights and weekends. Think about when you watch sports. How many times are you watching something over the holidays or Boxing Day on a hockey game? Or, it's nights and weekends, long hours, travel, living out of a suitcase, shitty hotels, and bad meals, and too much booze most of the time. So, it's a tough business all across the board. So, you got to be built for it. There is a thing about it. You got to kind of like it. It is a bit gritty. It is a bit unrefined on some level, because sometimes you're living out of a suitcase and it's shitty hours, right? So
satisfying.
Am I satisfied?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think I won the lottery because I married a guy I met at TSN who was in the business. He's a technical director, a switcher. So we weren't competing. It was sort of different jobs. And I had a good partner that helped me raise our kids, and, we understood the business and we made it through. But I'm kind of done. Like, after 30 years, like, now you get more fussy, right? You don't want to put up with the long hours as long.
Yeah, but look, the fact that you're an executive producer, and executive producer means different things in different businesses and that, but quite frankly, you've reached the top when you've done that. When you look back and someone says, hey, Karen, when you broke through that ceiling and became the first female executive producer at CBC Sports, what type of trickle down effect did that have on other females in your business? Do you know? Is there, can you tell? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say to you guys that obviously I started teaching on the side at Centennial College about 14 years ago, and then about 8 years ago moved to Ryerson and teach at Ryerson. So the fact that I can show women that you can have a family, you can have a good career, and you can be respected without, doing all those things that we know were not right, like sleeping your way to the top and not behaving properly and not having a relationship that's flirty and having a professional relationship. I absolutely feel I've lived that life. And, that doesn't mean it wasn't hard. That doesn't mean you had to deflect. That doesn't mean you had to navigate certain situations. But I think I'm a good example. The trick is that there have been women that come along, and we have some good women at CBC, and CBC has always been a really good advocate of having women on the air. And even TSN put Terry Leibel on the air when I started there. Terry Leibel is a great veteran, CBC. Brenda Irving's
tremendous
working there. Sue Prestige is a name from the past who was a great woman. So I'm going to tell you guys that I think there's always one or two women out there that are making it. And we see like Christine Simpson, right? Chris Simpson, another woman, worked in hockey with her for years. So there's space. There's just not a huge space for women. It's still a bit of a boys' club. So yeah, I broke the glass ceiling, and I get to sit in the meetings, and I've been well respected, and I get to make some decisions. And being an executive producer means you have a project, you're responsible for the money, you're responsible for the talent, you get to hire people. And see, that's the key, guys. It's who you hire. So, I brought one of the first Black men into the sports department as an associate producer who was a storyteller. I've brought women, I've hired people. That's where you make the difference. But I'm going to say this. I'll end it here to say that there's not as many women as I would like to have seen. There's still just a few women in the technical jobs. There's still just a few women here and there in production. There's women in
hang on, wait a second, Karen.
Yeah.
Have I not heard in the last couple of years, have there not been claims of all female production, all the talent, everybody behind the scenes was a female? Is that a lie? Is that a fallacy? What's really going on there? Is that a once a year, let's celebrate women in television and do one show? What's going on there?
I'm just going to be honest and put it out there because I don't know who listens to your podcast, but to me, that's a spectacle. That's not real. It's a spectacle. It's International Women's Day in March. Let's do something. So look, it's double-fisted because it's good that they're doing that to bring recognition to the women out there that are doing the work. But to just say it as a one-off, that's not real. When we did the Pan Am Games for Toronto, we were host broadcaster and domestic production, 2015 Toronto Pan Am Games. I produced. My director was Heather Jenkins, a woman who does work on Hockey Night, does the control room show. My font, like the person doing the graphics was a woman. The AD was a woman. The switcher, the person pushing the buttons was a woman. Like that, we didn't announce that. It just was.
Right.
So when they did the Raptors game, look, that's great, but the producer was still a guy. It wasn't a woman.
Why would TSN, when they were promoting it, and everyone else is picking the story up, why wouldn't they be totally honest? Like, is it that big a deal that everybody in front of the camera was female, but that the producer of the show was a male? Doesn't that kind of take away from it?
Yeah, to me, obviously it does, as a woman producer of live sport who does the live Olympics and the live equestrian and figure skating, hockey, all that stuff. So there's a woman, Dawn Landis. She's a director out there.
I know, of course, Dawn. I've worked with Dawn many times. Yeah.
Right. That's a woman directing all the time. There are women associate directors. I've told you that. There are women associate producers, but TSN doesn't have a woman who produces live sport. They have, there's Allison Redmond is exec of hockey, of Hometown Hockey, right? So she's around there now. I think she came from news background at, I'm not sure exactly, but I want to say CP24. But the thing is, it's hard to find women. So even producing live sport, there are some women that produce the news magazine shows at these places.
Yeah.
But they don't have, there isn't women that produce sports. They're starting now. There's a new girl at Sportsnet who's starting to come along, you know? So again, there's not dozens of them. So I think it's a bit of spectacle, guys, that you have on-air talent, you have a play-by-play in color. Like they make a big deal about that. You guys know sports. It's been guys doing play-by-play for years, and then the odd woman. Now CBC has women. We always have had women. Carolyn Cameron does some stuff at Sportsnet now, right? And we've seen some other people. So it's starting to change, but that's what the public sees. So if you see all women calling the game, hosting the show, doing the panel, like then all of a sudden you think it's an all woman broadcast, because it kind of is.
Is there a television market out there for a professional women's hockey league?
Wow. Because
you think I'm fucking around here, Karen? I want to know the answer to this, because I see the WNBA. It's been going on for 20 years now. It's solid in a lot of cities. Drake's talking about bringing a team to Canada, blah, 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 blah. We got 2 women's hockey leagues. They're screwing with each other. Canada, US, I can only watch another 90 times before I get bored with that rivalry. So seriously, like, you know, it's like, to me, it's shit or get off the pot. And so you're in a position of people like you, not that there aren't that many of them, to say, let's do it. Let's get women out there, to get them playing, producing the television broadcast, being engaged and involved, and growing their sport. I don't want to say their sport, growing the sport so that everybody can enjoy it, and producing a nice television package that appeals to viewers.
And I think I'm going to still be working this out for the next decade, because after 30 years, I was around when the Women's Sport Network started. TSN started. They brought Sue Prestige in to lead this. They asked me if I wanted to go there. I said no. Like I wanted to stay at CBC Sports, obviously, because of Olympics and stuff. But there just isn't the market. And it's Canada, right? Like in the US, there's just that many more people. So there's a thing, you know, we do lots of stuff, tell women's sports stories. The Olympics, we all know, right, guys? It's all women that bring home the medals. There's a time and a place. There's a time and a place when the Canadian public really embraces women, and that's Olympics. They really embrace the women of the Olympics. But on a regular day-to-day, weekly basis, we can't seem to get there. We can't. And it's money, marketing. And you know what someone said to me once? The way we're going to change it is when it's bums in seats. So put your money where your mouth is. So I can tell you that I advocate for women's sports, but I don't have seasons tickets to the women's hockey games.
Well,
right?
Where are the women's hockey games? Like
when we had the Toronto teams, and we've had it, right? Like,
right.
You know,
bums in seats.
Bums in seats. It's bums in seats. Like tennis is pretty good. Right. Women's tennis, that game is pretty solid as an individual sport. Right. But you're right. Like women's hockey, if there was a Canada-US game, would I go buy a ticket? Probably not. But I'm not the market. Like I've done a career of sports. I don't know that I can watch another hockey game. Like I watch the Raptors, you know, I'm on the bandwagon, and, you know, you get to the fourth quarter and I'm like, I can't sit here hoping, you know. Let's talk about Leafs, my years on hockey. I am not a Leafs fan. I heard you saying, who do you want them to play? Tampa all the way, because it's warm and sunny. And those were my best. Those were my best years on Hockey Night in Canada, because the Leafs never bloody well made it. So I always was cheering for Jersey. I spent more time in Detroit than I care to recall. But, you know, all these other great teams and great hockey teams, I never cheered for the Leafs because they never made it. So I had to be on the bandwagon of some other team that we were going to be on the road with. So
how much do you spend a lot of time with? You mentioned Don Cherry, and you were his, like,
and Ron.
You and Don, but you were like, you know, okay, you got this much time. But Bob Cole and Harry Neal, because we're talking about familiarity, and Mike and I will both agree here that watching Bob Cole and Harry Neal do a hockey game, not necessarily a Leaf game, but it was great because we're Leaf fans, but just to hear them do Hockey Night in Canada was something special, something that we might not get again because we have split broadcast teams, et cetera, et cetera. We don't know who we're getting. Sometimes it's a disembodied voice. We're like, who is that?
Yeah.
So tell us, like, you must have some good road stories with Bob Cole and Harry Neal.
You know, I've been so busy in my 30-year career. That's what I'm going to spend now in my next chapter, is sort of like trying to recall all these stories. But I think we're a generation that Hockey Night in Canada was a classy place to work. There were classy people. They were the best. And it was amazing for me to be in my 20s and working with these legends. And they were professional. They were polite. And here's the thing, my stories, I have no stories because they told the stories. Can you not imagine going for dinner with these people and just sitting there and listening to them regale stories from being with Boston and players they knew and all that, So, I mean, just to work with them, Harry Neale was an amazing person, always had a joke, always had a one-liner. Always was the sidekick, and sort of Bob Cole would be all serious and Harry would always have a little snappy thing to sort of try to lighten him up.
Even off air, like Coley off air was pretty stoic, right?
Oh yeah. He was very focused about the names. I mean, really, if I had to say what was my thing that I remember with Bob Cole, the pronunciation. Oh my God. It was like, the second coming, if that, we got to say this guy's name this way. I went and talked to him at the morning skate. This is how you say it,
That's CBC though. That's his CBC training, right?
Yeah. And his own training, it was his connection to the players. He wanted to do them the service of pronouncing their name correctly, the way they wanted it called. We have a thing about, I'm sure you've heard it, Coley. Yes. Did he do a game with his, he unbuckled his pants? Yes.
What?
I've heard this.
Wait, I didn't hear this. How did I not hear this story?
Really? Oh, Coley always had his pants undone to do a game. Like just unbuckle, take the belt undone. And the big thing we always talked is about, he would give Harry the Heisman. So if he was in the mode with his call and, Harry wanted to get in and, he put the hand out so that the Heisman, so that Harry couldn't get in, so that meant wait.
Ooh. Right. Of course.
But
that's interesting.
And they were great. And when they did the Olympics, they called the Olympics and
Salt Lake in 2002.
Yeah. And
were you there? So wait a sec, you were there. So that's Tragically Hip was there. The women's team that was like magical, eh? That Olympics.
But let's go back. See this right there.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
1998 Team Canada jersey.
Nice.
So Hockey Night crew, CBC, we were hired to do host hockey for 98 Nagano. So that was my first Olympics was 96 Atlanta. Yeah, the bomb went off. I can tell, that's another story. 12 Olympics. I got lots of stories on Olympics, but that jersey was great to work with the first time the NHLers had gone to the Olympics. And we recorded games and, I don't know if we were supposed to, but we wanted to help them do well. So that jersey, everybody signed that jersey for me because I was just, again, a helper person, but still timing and working on the crew. Yeah. But you'll like this story. The only autograph I couldn't get from the players in 98 was Gretzky. So didn't I, after the Olympics, they're done in February. Now you got to go do the whole season. I bloody well had that jersey in my suitcase everywhere I went to, like, when am I going to get Gretzky so I can get Gretzky to sign this thing? So Gretzky in 98 was kind of like, he wasn't so interested or so, attainable. Was it 98? Is that the year he retired?
No,
yeah, 98, 99. Yeah.
He retires in 99. Like his number.
99. So I know, so the thing about Gretzky is that we did his last game in Toronto at Maple Leaf Gardens. We did his last game at Madison Square Gardens. That was the moment. But I carried the damn jersey and I couldn't get to Wayne to get him to sign it. So I went to Walter. And so after a morning skate, Walter was hanging around and I went to Walter Gretzky. Hi, my name is, I work on, and I've got this jersey. Can you please get Wayne to come and sign it? That's probably the most time I was like aggressive for an autograph.
Right.
Because, you don't do that. When we work in the business and we know these people, we don't do it. So Walter Gretzky helped me get Wayne's autograph on that. So, and do my children want this? No.
Well, now that Wayne knows that you just got it hung on the back of the door, you don't have it framed beautifully. Like, come on. And you went and you got that. See, I've got like this thing I had, that's Canada Cup 87, every autograph except for Glenn Anderson.
Oh, see,
I gotta get Glenn Anderson, right? Like, and I don't know if he just I don't know what happened that day, but like it's everyone. But anyway, but I'm not going to carry that thing around with me in my luggage. You carried that thing around.
No, I got to frame. I got to frame it and do something with it.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah. Call my buddy Brian at Frameworth. Man, he does a beautiful job.
All
seriously,
right.
That is a gore. And you know how much money that's worth, Karen?
No, I don't know if it's worth anything.
No, Karen. It's signed by every. It's signed by every single member of the team.
I know. Joe Sakic. I mean, it's good, right? It's good.
Joe Sakic. Okay, you got Gretzky on there. Come on, Mike. Before we say goodbye to Karen, what I know you're just look at you. You're champing at the bit.
No, I could do 3 hours with Karen, to be quite honest. Love this stuff. Love these stories.
He's going to retire after the Paris Olympics anyway. You'll have like years to do it.
Well, I'm going to have to get you over here.
Yeah, no, I think the thing about, listen, sports in Toronto, it's great. And I think we're lucky that we live in Toronto because we have great sports teams. Go Jays, right? I want to get back out to sitting there in the 500s with a beer, right? That's where the Jays, that's
beer
where
in
you
each
watch
hand.
the Jays. Yeah. I think they're excellent. Working in sports is great as a woman. And I think it doesn't matter, man or woman. I think it's entertainment. It's fun. It's compared to news and stuff like that. And it's people, right? So, Hebsy's got a book. By the way, Dunder & Press is on Queen Street, right near my house. I walked in there the other day to buy a book and your book was right there. So, but I think
when are you going to write a book? Hey, when are you going to write a book?
I don't know. And I'm not going to write a book about sports because at the end of the day, there's lots of stories. I can tell you, there's lots of stories of drinking and there's lots of stories of eating poorly and there's lots of stories of, just silliness really. But it's really about the people, the athletes. And I think I'm so blessed to have been a features producer for years, following these athletes, going to their homes, telling stories. I think that's what makes sports great is it's the athletes and being able to tell the stories. And I hope the professional athletes remember that sometimes because we all know the stories, right? Back in the 90s with the Jays, if you wanted to talk to them, you had to slip them $100 to get an interview.
Fergie Oliver did that.
50, it was 50 US from Fergie. And then I think George Brett in like the late 80s went, 50. And they bumped it up to 100.
Bumped it up,
cash in your hand. And almost all the guys would take the cash and give it to the clubhouse men, which you do at the end of a series. You'd say like, here, thanks for, getting me my coffee and stuff like that. So they loved it. And CTV was, Fergie would have like a stack of $100 bills.
Yeah. That I've heard. And, CBC had baseball for a little while too. And that was the story. But when you look at these young hockey players and these young basketball players that are superstars and all this money, like I love it when I see that they still remember who they are and they share with the media. Like the media is not going to go away. The media is here to stay and people want to know the stories. So access is everything. And I think that's, it goes back to what you're saying about the women and women's hockey and all that. There's great stories out there, but are people going to go to the games? And is the public going to go? And do people want to hear the stories? And that's how you'll know if it can work. So you guys got to keep telling your stories.
Karen, we're so happy to have had you on. As always, it just seems that we're just sort of we're scratching the surface here. There's just so much to talk about. But it was great having you. That's Karen Sebesta, senior producer, CBC Sports, first female executive producer at CBC Sports. I'm going to assume you'll be a senior producer at the 2024 Paris Games.
You know what? You never know. Here's what I'm going to tell you guys really quick is that, and young listeners out there, if you start young, which I did, you can finish early. That's the beauty. And so I'm going to move on from CBC at the end of the summer. I'm going to do more teaching at Ryerson because I want to support the next generation and help work with them and the freelance world. So that's going and working internationally and working for other sports broadcasters and doing more in the truck and getting back to actually producing the sports. Again, when you're an exec, it's a lot of paperwork and management. And so I'm going to be involved in Paris Olympics for sure, but I might be producing equestrian at Versailles.
Nice.
So we'll see what the future begins. I'm going to head into a new chapter. That's the beauty of working 30 years at the CBC. You can walk away with a bit of comfort financially, and still get out there and do stuff. So I won't be doing a podcast, but maybe write a book. We'll see.
Well, listen, as someone, and Mike can attest as well, who doesn't have a boss and is a freelancer, it's a wonderful, liberating feeling. Good for you.
Thanks a lot, guys. Really enjoyed it, and love to connect with you guys more on the outside for other projects.
We will. We'll have to get some golf in too. You're going to have some time on your hands.
That's a dream. I love golf. Last year, the weather was so good. I golfed April 2nd. What the hell is going on out there?
I know. We'll get you out to Crosswinds this year. We'll have a fantastic time. Thank you, Karen. All the best.
Guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
That's Karen Sebesta. How about that? How about that?
How about that? That's Mel Allen, right? How about that?
That's it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, she was great. I love to hear how the cake is baked and all that.
It's great. It's great. But you could tell that she could tell if there were a couple of beers involved, and not on the air, she could probably tell some great stories.
She's winding down.
More than just Bob Cole, doing the broadcast with his pants undone.
Yeah, I had been fed that story a few times.
I never heard it that way. I heard other things, and I think I told you my Bob Cole story was the time that him and Pat Burns tried to get a smoke at Chicago's O'Hare Airport, and you can't smoke in the airport at the time. This was in the early 90s, I guess. Yeah, I guess in the early 90s. And so we ran down a jetaway and out onto the tarmac at Chicago O'Hare and had a smoke.
The good old days.
Yeah, that's it. All right, let's go to some tennis. It's clay court season in tennis in Europe. Felix Auger-Aliassime into the quarterfinals at Estoril, Portugal. He's the number 1 seed and gets number 8 seed Sebastian Korda this afternoon. Poor Sebastian Korda. Like, both of his sisters are top LPGA players. Tremendous players. He's a young up and comer on the tour. I bet you both his sisters make more money than he does professionally.
Well, no shame.
I'm just saying. Anyway, and he's number 8. He's a good young player. I don't know if he's going to reach the level that his sisters have reached in their chosen sport. And of course, their father, Peter Korda, was an outstanding tennis player. Anyway. On the distaff side, Bianca Andreescu in action in Madrid this afternoon. She takes on Allison Risk of the United States. Earlier today, the number 17 seed, Leila Annie Fernandez of Montreal, had to go 3 sets against Germany's Andrea Petkovic. She won the opening set 6-1, and then she fell apart in the second set and lost 1-6 and was broken early in the third, fell behind 0-2, but broke back in the fourth game and then broke Petkovic in the 10th game and won it 6-4 in the final. Great match. Very exciting young player, as you know, Leila Annie Fernandez. And I guess it's between her and Bianca as to who's the better female tennis player, who's going to have a better shot at the majors this year. We'll wait and see.
Who will have the better career? I mean, it's all about health.
I don't know, Mike. I don't know. If you would have asked me that about Jeannie Bouchard, I would have said, Jeannie Bouchard's going to have a great career. I mean, I remember Bubba O'Neill going, she's going to win multiple majors. I'm going, multiple majors? Wait, hang on a second here. But again, the field of players, opponents, was it as strong as it was? I mean, Serena was in her prime.
Yeah, well, Serena's the greatest of all time.
Right. So if you had to take on Serena in your prime, what chances did you really have of winning majors versus now when it's certainly a lot more wide open? Ash Barty's retiring. Serena's pretty much, Right. Anyway, in golf, it's the Mexico Open. It's taking place in Mexico. John Rahm is a part of a 6-way tie for the lead at 7 under par. It's one of these tournaments where there's a 6-way tie for the lead. Then there's 5 other guys in not second place, but in 5 other guys after that. And then there's 15 guys. So if you're like 4 shots off the pace, you're in 38th place. Like that kind of a thing. So we got Michael Gligic of Burlington at 4 under, Nick Taylor at 1 under, Adam Svensson even, Roger Sloan +3, David Hearn +4. Okay, finally, a recent survey of hockey fans revealed that the folks who attend Toronto Maple Leaf games drink more alcohol and spend more money on alcohol than any other fans in the league. The average age of the respondents was 35. Leafs fans consume an average of 3.9 alcoholic drinks per game and spend an average of $58.50 on alcohol per game. Next is Chicago, 3.8 drinks a game. Tampa and Colorado, 3.7 drinks per game. The bottom teams, the Washington Capitals and New York Rangers, 1.8 drinks per game. Mike, any reason why Toronto fans are such big boozers?
Yeah, I've cracked this code. It's because the average income of your attendee at Scotiabank Arena is higher than any other arena in the league because you have to be rich to go to a Leafs game.
No,
so you can afford to drink.
Not the answer. There's plenty of rich people who go to Rangers games at Madison Square Garden where the seats are much more expensive than they are at the Air Canada Centre. The answer is, Mike, the incredible public transit system that is connected to the Scotiabank Arena allows people to not worry about drinking and driving, and that can safely imbibe and take public transit home safely. Thank you very much. That's it for episode 282 of Hebsy on Sports. Thanks to Toronto Mike for production and inspiration. Hit him up at Toronto Mike. Listen to his excellent podcast, like the one this week with Dave Thomas.
Oh, yeah, that's one for the...
I got another book. I got a book for you here. I got a book. This for you.
Wow.
I'm going to give this to you when I see you.
Okay. Love it.
You will absolutely love it. It's terrific.
Love it. SCTV.
Second City. It's The Second City by Sheldon Patinkin. Anyway, so also big thanks to executive producer Scott Allen and to our special guest, CBC Sports executive producer and senior producer, soon to leave the corp after 30-odd years, Karen Sebesta.
Wow.
And don't forget the Mother's Day special at natebakesoap.com. Make your mom happy. Use the promo code Hebsy20 to get 20% off your order at checkout. Thanks for allowing us into your headspace. This was a fun show to do today. I have got to take more drugs.
You bounced back. I think Karen revitalized you.
Yes, she did. Definitely. Back with another episode next week when our guest will be NHL analyst and TSN personality, Mike Johnson.
Wow.
Yeah. He's going to be in a hotel room somewhere. I think he'll be on the road, the playoffs. I don't know. But anyway, Mike's our guest next week. Looking forward to that. Until then, so long for now.